Hey everyone, welcome to Mystifying Miracles. Today I'm going over a woman's story who started up a prison ministry and saw many miracles throughout her lifetime there and in her own life. I'm going to go over a few of those, so stay tuned. A woman, her name was Donna, and when her kids were little, she remembers telling them, "Don't walk by the prison. There's dangerous people in there." Because where they lived, there was a prison not too far off, so it was one of those things she did all the time, telling her children the dangers of going near there. Well, one day she was praying and she says God told her to do something totally crazy. She questioned it because she thought, that makes no sense. But she prayed on it more, and she said thoughts would pop up in her head, such as, "Those men are my children. They need me, Donna, and I want you to make the introduction." Donna goes into detail of how unqualified she felt in that moment. Why? Why choose her? I mean, out of all people, especially someone who told their children for years, "Don't go near the prison. It's dangerous." It just didn't make sense to her. And she really didn't know where to start, but she wanted to be obedient. So she starts by just walking into the prison one day to start asking questions. And they told Donna that she would need to compose a letter and submit it. That way their board could look at it and, just the reasons why she wants to come into their prison. So Donna goes home. She writes one. It was one page, one line. I love this. And here's what it said. It simply just said, "Because God says so." She sends it in, and the board, they review it, and there's always one. There was one guy who just refused. He didn't want her in there. He made every excuse, telling the other board members, "Oh, it's going to bring too much loudness, too much singing, worship, and all that." And Donna thought, well, he's not lying. That's true. But the other board members voted on it, and they all wanted Donna to come in. So he was outnumbered, and that guy actually ended up resigning. He threatened to resign and did. Slowly but surely, Donna's ministry began to grow, and as it did, God began to bless it. She eventually found out that about 97% of the inmates that ended up being involved in the prison ministry and were in prison, once they got out of prison, they never returned. Like, their lives were forever changed. Donna also stresses that so many of those men's hearts were changed. They were softened. And Donna says hers was too. She began to realize that God didn't call her to do this because she was the most qualified. But more so, she says, God wanted Donna to be shown the reach, the span of His love. No one was too lost. No one was too broken. And no one was too dangerous for God. As Donna's passion grew, her efforts doubled. She wanted so badly to just reach more people. But the problem was, at that point in time, there was tension because she wanted to devote so much of her time to the prison ministry. But then she also had to devote a lot of time to her regular full-time job to make ends meet. And just when she started to yearn more and more to want more time with the ministry, Donna loses her job. Donna was a single mother. She had 2 young sons, and it now looked like survival was going to be impossible. But I like how Donna says it. She says, "But God specializes in the impossible." She was praying another day, and she felt God telling her that all the tension that she, had been feeling, that it's gone. It's gone as of now. And now she can spend more of her time at the prison ministry. Donna said her first inclination was like anybody else's probably would be, like almost not panicky, but worried because she had 2 young sons. And they were soon going to be homeless because of her job loss. So in her mind, she thought, I've got to find another job. Like right now, I can't worry about this prison ministry right now. But despite those feelings, she really felt God pushing her and telling her to donate her full time to the prison ministry. And Donna chose to trust God for that provision. She described, just as God did for the Israelites 40 years in the desert, just as God did for the disciples when he sent them out to go spread the good news. He told them to take nothing, that everything would be provided. So she trusted that God, he never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He would do the same for her. And in the following years, Donna says she saw so many miracles. So many, so much so that it was impossible to remember each and every one. However, there were a few that really stood out and that she never forgot. So when she lost her job, there was no income coming in, especially since she was devoting all her time to the ministry, and she knew that they'd soon be homeless. Well, a friend of hers, unbeknownst to Donna, went to their pastor and just kind of had a talk, that friend did, with the pastor, telling the pastor that, we always every year give to all these ministries all around the world. Do you think it would be possible to give to one right here in our local area, right in our own backyard, so to speak? Well, the pastor thought, why not? Donna ends up getting a call from the pastor, and he asks her, Donna, how can the church help? And she was forthcoming. She was honest and straightforward. She said, well, we're about to be homeless. The pastor tells her to go pick out a trailer and that the church was going to pay for it. That trailer ended up being the biggest blessing. Her and her boys lived in it from that point on for many years afterwards. It was so wonderful because now this was paid for. They didn't have to worry about rent. I mean, that's a miracle. There was another time later on in the years when Donna's spending time with her granddaughter. They were both hungry, but the problem was, once again, they had no money. They were out of food as well. The granddaughter asked Donna, she said, Grandma, what are we going to do? I'm hungry. So Donna says, let's pray about it. So the two prayed together. And it was that same afternoon, one of them opens the front door. I'm not sure if they were going out to check the mail or what, but they open it, and there on the front porch were 3 full bags of groceries. They never found out who sent them, but it was, again, such a blessing at just the right time. And Donna remembers just watching her granddaughter because she was little, so she was so excited and just full of that wonder and wow. Now we have food. She was excited. And Donna thought of childlike faith, how that is just so important. Then there was another time when Donna at this time was still running the prison ministry, and she got a bad case of bronchitis. She needed medicine pretty badly, but once again, there was no money, and she didn't believe in having credit cards and that sort of thing, so she just kind of waited. But as she waited, the bronchitis got worse. So she's driving home one night, and she's thinking, and she starts talking to God about it. I don't feel well. I don't know what to do. I don't really have money to get medicine. I think the doctor had already prescribed it. It's just, she just didn't have the money to go take that and get it filled. Well, as she's praying that night on the ride home, she feels God telling her to go to the grocery store now. And at first, she kind of argued with God a little because she was like, that's silly. I don't have money. Why would I go to the grocery store? I look like an idiot. The prompt from God persisted. So she headed to the grocery store. And the whole way there, driving, she said she just worried and fretted because, she's playing it out in her mind, walking up to the pharmacy counter, not having money, yet saying, hey, I need this filled. So she was just really freaking out about what was going to happen. But she goes inside. She walks up to the pharmacy counter and a lady helps her. She hands her the prescription and she asks her, how long do you think it'll take to prepare my prescription? And the lady says, about 20 minutes. So Donna tells her, okay, I'm just going to walk around the store and look around. And so she does that. She gets back 20 minutes later and she asks the woman, okay, how much is that going to be? And the lady was about to say $9.99, but she was interrupted by the actual pharmacist. He had the white coat. He was behind the counter working with this woman. And he comes up to speak to Donna. And he tells her, excuse me, ma'am, you don't know me, but I go to your church and I heard you talk about your prison ministry and what you're doing there. I think that's wonderful. He's like, and I want to take care of your prescription for you today. I've got it. Don't worry. So now here's another miracle. Donna has the medicine that she needs so badly because she was obedient and did exactly what she felt God was telling her to do. She now had that. Can you imagine if she just decided, no, I'm going to be embarrassed and not obey? She still wouldn't have the medicine, and who knows what would have happened with her health. There was also another time later on, it was a Christmas, and one of Donna's granddaughters requested a bean chair. I guess those were popular during the time. It was a black beanbag chair. But all those stores were out. Donna had been looking for months, but everywhere she went, there were none in stock. So she's thinking about it one day and she's thinking, what am I going to do? When am I going to get my granddaughter? And she says she felt the push to call the toy store. And she knew that was God telling her to call the toy store, but she kind of at first thought, I just did that the other day. They're out. Like, why do I need to call again? But she still felt that urge to do it and that instruction to call the toy store. In addition, she says that the Lord told her that there is a surplus container. It's behind some certain counter there in the toy store, and it has one beanbag chair in it. So call about it. Donna's like, oh my goodness, how am I going to even? But she does. She calls the store. A young man, his name was Matt, answers the phone, and she inquires about the black beanbag chair, to which he tells her, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, we've been out. We're still out. And she calmly tells Matt, do you think you could check the surplus container? Matt was shocked because he asks Donna, how did you even know about that? And Donna answered, well, the Lord told me. Matt goes to check. He comes back to the phone all excited and he's like, I don't know how this happened, but you're right. There was one black beanbag chair in that surplus container. So he was able to save it for her so she could go pick it up. And she ended up having a gift for her granddaughter after all that Christmas. Many years passed by again, and Donna now finds herself in a retirement home. And the trailer she and her sons had lived in all those years, she ended up handing it down to one of her sons. And instead of going into the ministry now that she's, older, she now just serves on the board of directors for her ministry. But she was praying one day because she really missed actually getting in there, walking into the prisons and being hands-on. She really wished she could do that again. And she talked to God about that. And he told her back, he said, Donna, you are surrounded where you are now by so many that are living in their own personal prisons. And she thought about that, and it was true. There were so many people that were alone or living in despair or in the dark there because they were depressed because they were older and by themselves. So she knew that to be true. She began talking about Jesus with them and sharing the good news. Around the writing, which was about 2018-ish, somewhere around then, of this book that had Donna's story, Donna actually had a health scare. Nurses went into her room to wake her up one night at the retirement home, and they couldn't rouse her. So they take her to the ER. The doctors and medical staff let Donna's family know that, unfortunately, Donna has catastrophic organ failure and that she probably wouldn't live through the night. She could hear what was going on, and one of her sons bends down to whisper in her ear and says, Mom, do you want to die or do you want to live? And Donna remembers thinking about that. And she remembers thinking in her head, I want whatever the Lord wants. Well, doctors did have to do emergency surgery. And beforehand, before it all started, Donna said she said a prayer that the medical staff would have hands to take care of the situation during the surgery, whatever was needed, that they would be able to do that. Well, Donna ends up having, I guess, what you would call a vision while she was under and having the surgery. She said there was bright white light and she could see the hands moving and working on her, like under the light. She said she saw her stomach and their organs and they're working on her. And then she hears voices and she heard one of the doctors say, "Wow, her kidneys are working now." Another one said, "Oh my gosh, this is a miracle." All of Donna's organs ended up working properly, and it wasn't a catastrophic situation like the family had been told. All these little miracles in Donna's life I just found fascinating. And a quote from Donna, she says, "Living for anything else is like performing CPR on a dummy. It is exhausting, and there is no life there. Living for God, though, it's a fulfilling adventure. It is thrilling and yet somehow peaceful." At the end of the story, Donna talks about how she anticipates one day when she sees Jesus face to face, when it is her time, and she just hopes so badly that he just tells her, "Well done." That latest update for Donna was in 2018. I'm not sure what she's doing nowadays. I do know that there are more miracles that Donna experienced in her life that are detailed in a book. That book is by Becky Lyles, and I'll see if I can find a picture and a link to post that if anybody is interested. But what a fantastic story. Donna's just touched me like so many do, and I just loved reading it. I hope it was a blessing to hear that, and let me know your thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys for the next story.